Alright, I gotta start off by saying this is a real review from a real person that buys his own stuff. You can't really trust online magazine reviews because the people at MTBR, Pink Bike, and all the magazine editors, they're whores, okay? Nothing wrong with whores. I mean, a whore is a living like any other living. But the reason they have to whore themselves is because that's their job. They get these parts for free. They're good with all the buddies with all the manufacturers. So they got to whore themselves out and always give positive reviews. People, they'll always put like other frame makers down that they don't know about, right? I mean, but if it's in the bike industry, they have to whore themselves out. So this is a Velobuild VB-M-73. Great bike. I also have a Santa Cruz Nomad, Nomad 3, Generation 3. Love that bike, but man, that bike is a beast. I have big tires on it, and it just saps my energy on the climb, and I don't realize how much of a beast it is until I ride this bike. This bike is much easier in the climbs. Nomad's a lot funner bike though, if you don't mind struggling on the climbs a little bit, man, the downhills, the Nomad's awesome. So this is the VB-M-73 Velobuild, great bike so far. It stands up and hammer much better than Nomad, and it's just a all-around great trail bike. I had a Dashine DSK-088 before. It's the exact same as this bike. This bike was supposed to go to a friend, but I like the frame better, so I sold the Dashine to my buddy. One thing about the Dashine, what happened with the Dashine though, I did break. Well, I didn't break, but I didn't break the Dashine, but I broke my rear derailleur on the Dashine. And in the process of taking off the rear derailleur and putting it back on the trail, I stripped the thread on the derailleur hanger. Tried to get a new derailleur hanger from Dashine. They didn't know what I was talking about. They couldn't get me one. Luckily, Velobuild was able to get me a replacement derailleur hanger for my Dashine bike. This bike is the exact same as the Dashine. That's why Velobuild was able to do it. The design did change. So this is a 2017 Velobuild. So it changed from the 2015, which my Dashine was. And but the good news is I have 2 extra derailleur hangers for this one, and my buddy has 2 extra derailleur hangers for the Dashine, and they were pretty inexpensive. Not counting shipping, probably about $6 each. So hopefully I never have to use them, but you never know. So this bike is built just like with my Dashine, with a fork of 120 millimeter travel. It's a Fox Float 32, 2015. The rear shock is a 2014 Fox Factory CTD rear shock. Right now, the stroke is only 50 millimeters. So this is the stroke right here. It's only 50 millimeters, and it gives me about 118, 120 millimeters of rear travel. I'm going to bump up the travel on this. And the reason for that is I want a little more forgiving bike on the jumps and through the chunk, right? So I'm going to go with a RockShox Pike RCT3 140 millimeters, which I already have on hand. I'll put that on pretty soon. And the rear, I'm going to go with another Fox I bought. And that one has a 57 millimeter stroke, so it should give me about 135 millimeter in the rear. I have this bike built pretty nice, as you can see. I have race face turbine cranks, SRAM X01 rear derailleur, SRAM X01 shifter, SRAM 1042 cassette. I have an oval front chain ring that's only 26 tooth, because I like to stay on the bike. It gets very slippery, as you can see around here, and you need those low gears to climb this stuff. And Also, Aaron Gwynn showed that you don't really even need a chain sometimes to go down. It's all about keeping your momentum. So I do spin out a lot on this 26, but that's all right. Most of the cheaper parts, you know, I have cheap handlebars, only $20. It's carbon, very light. Compares to, well, I mean, it doesn't compare in quality, but it compares in weight to an American $200 American handlebar. But $20, stems about $10. Seat post is the D&M seat post. Only 100 millimeters of travel, but it's been solid. I had this seat post for over a year. It's great. It's not like my RockShox Reverb, which I have to bleed like every 4 months because it just stops working, so I have to re-bleed it every 4 months. These pedals are Rock Rose pedals, only $20. They bash pretty easy, but that's okay. Just put another one for $20, $25. You know, if you get like something like Amp Straight Line pedals, they'll last forever. But you know, you're talking about a $150 pedal versus a $25 pedal. The wheels are off of my Nomad. It's WTB I-23s with DT350 hubs. Brakes are Shimano. It's very slippery around here. Brakes are Shimano Xt. As you can see, I put a Raider theme on here. Las Vegas Raiders, baby. Las Vegas Raiders. With this fork, the head tube angle is about 67 degrees. 66.6 is what they say. I didn't confirm that, but it feels like it because it descends decent. But you know, with a 140 millimeter fork, I'll probably bring it down to about 65.5 degrees with the one, which is good because the slacker the head angle, the better the descending. Seat tube angle is kind of slack, meaning these days they have very steep seat tubes. 74 degrees is what's on my Nomad. It makes seated climbing a lot easier, and it keeps the bike balanced, meaning I keep the front end down and I get enough traction in the rear with the Nomad. This bike, it's only 71 degrees, but I made up for it. I slid the seat all the way forward, so that probably gives me another 2 degrees, I'm guessing. So it feels pretty close to my Nomad now when on seated climbs. This bike overall stands up and hammers much better than Nomad. Like I said, it's just a all-around better trail bike, better climber, and doesn't beat me up as much. The Nomad is only really good for the downhill. No, this is overall. You spend much more time going uphill than you do downhill, so that's why I prefer this bike for general trail duty over the Nomad. Can't wait for tried it with a 140 millimeter front and 135 millimeter rear. I'm going to take it to the bike park. Well, bike parks are all closed now. In Colorado, Trestle, Keystone, they're both closed. I have Bootleg Canyon around here, but that's decent, but it's not a real bike park like Trestle, man. Trestle's pretty awesome. Rainmaker, 36 chamber, favorite trails. So I can't wait for next year. I'm gonna try it out with the RockShox Pike and the longer travel Fox in the rear. So yep, a Velobuild VB-M-73, and it's just as good as my Dashine, or I should say better. It looks better. The finishing is better, and best of all is I can trust Velobuild for after sales support if I need anything. So I'm very happy with this bike.